Welcome to a special episode. Tim's potatoes. These things, I created this recipe when I was about 19 years old, and ever since I made them, everybody's asked me for a recipe. I never wrote a recipe down. I just make these things. I just throw them together. So I kind of wrote down a recipe here for you to go by to make them. It's more of a process, more just putting things together than a recipe. We will go over the ingredients. I have some jumbo russet potatoes, some Italian 5 cheese, and Mexican 4 cheese. These are 8-ounce packages, 2 cups each. It makes it easy. Some butter. I have my chicken base, and I have some milk, some flour, and then my seasonings. I use Johnny's garlic spread and Italian seasoning. Whatever you like. Our first step will be to melt down some butter. We're going to make a roux here. A roux is fat and starch mixed together. Our fat being butter, our starch being some flour. Roux is a thickening agent. We're going to make a blonde roux here, which is basically the color of the roux. We're going to cook it until the roux turns blonde. You can cook it longer and have a brown roux and then black roux, I guess. But you basically stick to a blonde roux. Let it cook for a couple minutes. It turns a blonde color. And there you go. You just made your first roux if you've never made a roux before. I add about a cup of milk to start out my sauce making here. I'll whisk that until everything is fully incorporated, all the roux is mixed into the milk, and then I add the rest of my milk. You bring that to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, it thickens up. From there, you add your chicken base. Once you do that, you've basically made a sauce supreme. It's not true sauce supreme, but it's close enough. If you really want to get technical about it, a sauce supreme is chicken velouté and cream. But we don't need to be technical. All we need to know is it's supreme. Means it's awesome. Taste it. Oh yeah. That stuff is good right there. You could eat it like soup. But we're going to add some garlic seasoning to it. That was about 2 tablespoons. Then we're going to add some herbs. So I just use Italian seasoning for herbs because it's a good mixture of all the herbs. We're making this basic and simple for everyone. Now, your sauce is done. A good way to figure out how many potatoes you need is to fill up your pan with potatoes. Then add 1 extra. That's pan estimation. I made that up. Peel your potatoes. Thanks to technology, you will not have to watch me struggle through all of this work. But you have to do it. Now we have some peeled potatoes. Always rinse your potatoes after you peel them. There's still some dirt on them. Get them all nice and clean. Now it's time to unleash the beast. This is my brand new knife. Cutting through these potatoes is seriously like running a hot knife through butter. I'm not joking around. But I'm going for a nice little dice here. You don't need uniformity here, if that's a word. You want some pieces smaller than others. And what will happen is they cook more than the bigger pieces. So when everything gets mixed together, they kind of mash up and you get like a mashed potato around the bigger potato. It's a good texture, and that's what we're going for here. I can't stress enough not to overcook these things. So grab one of the big ones, stick a fork in it. Once it barely goes through and it's nice and fork tender, then you're done. uh, just for the texture and the feel of the mouth. You do not want to overcook these things. So, better to actually be a little less than more. So, we're going to get a pan. Once these are strained, you dump them on a pan and let them kind of steam. Let the steam come off of them and they dry up a bit. You don't want wet potatoes because then you get like a soupy mess. So I pour them out, let them sit there and steam for a little bit, spread them out, and now scoop them into a bowl. Try not to get any water in there. We're going to scoop really quick here. But whatever way you want to get them into a bowl. If you put them in a foil lined pan and then you can pick up the foil and pour it in, that would have been better than what I did. But now I take my sauce that we made, and you know it's good because you tasted it, right? So pour some of that over it. Oh yeah. But not too much. Now we're going to open up these packages of cheese. This is what makes it easiest. They're already shredded and mixed up. So I grab a handful and dump it in there. Grab a handful of the Italian now and dump it in there. And then you're going to mix this up, being gentle. It will mash all those smaller chunks up, and so you'll have kind of a mashed potato, like I said, around the bigger chunks. It's a texture thing I am going for here. But be gentle, mix that up a bit. I don't add a whole lot of sauce at first, but you can kind of see it starts stringing out, and you can see how cheesy it is. Cheesy goodness. I'm going to add some more sauce. It is better to have it a little saucy than not. You don't want it dry. So I use most of that sauce. The reason I don't mix the cheese in with the sauce and then pour it in is I will use that sauce for whatever I'm cooking. I made some pre-made chicken cordon bleu. Usually I make my own chicken cordon bleu. But then I take that sauce and pour it over the chicken cordon bleu and serve it with this, and it's awesome. But I don't want the cheese in there. So mix this up, a little soupy, then pour it into your 13 by 9 inch pan. You measured it with your potato estimation that I showed you, my trick I made up. You see it works pretty well. From here we just need to top it, and this is all your taste. I found some cheap breadcrumbs. These are Italian style with some seasoning, and we have some cheap unseasoned. Not smell too good, but use my hand and kind of spread it around. I just use my hand to guide so that I don't make a mess of the countertop. But get that all over the top there. And I ran out, so I'm using the cheap stuff. Then I'm going to get some more cheese and sprinkle it over the top. This is more for look than taste. These things are pretty cheesy. If you want, you could add all of that cheese there, and it wouldn't be too cheesy. These things turned out pretty good, but I didn't salt the water when I cooked the potatoes, which was, I'm dumb. Make sure you salt the water. That kind of makes me mad. I forgot that. But I'm going to spray it with some fruit release or some ham spray. Kind of soak the breadcrumbs, and that will get them golden. It's going into a 375 degree oven for about 35 minutes or so. And pull it out, and Look at this. This is amazing. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something and go out there and make some good food.